Murray and Lizzie, the Soul Movers. Welcome to Noise11.com, because this time we have an album to talk about. Evolution.
Yay!
Yeah, we do. It came out how many weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
I think about that long.
Yeah, but we're very excited about it. It's the album that we recorded with Garth Porter from Sherbet producing and co-writing a bunch of the songs, and Tony Mitchell from Sherbet playing bass on it. And we've been doing a few gigs with Tony playing with us, and it's pretty amazing having a legend. To me, he's like a great legend, because Sherbet were the first band I ever saw. So it's just amazing. I think my 13-year-old brain would have exploded if I'd known that this was going to happen sometime in my life. But, you know, we're really happy with the album. It's got a sheen we probably haven't had before. But, you know, the songs are strong. We're still doing some soul, but we're doing some other stuff as well, pop and some rock and
A bit of disco.
Yeah, so it's an
evolution.
It is an evolution, and that's part of the reason why we called the album that. And there is a song called Evolution, of course, too.
It's about as bright and sparkly as the album cover, which is very bright and very sparkly. But, you know, it was designed to be a bit of a COVID cure there. Obviously, it was recorded over last year at Rancom Street. And we did think very hard about nurturing our fans and getting people up and dancing and feeling good. And I think, you know, the album's a bit of a testament to that.
And that studio that you're talking about is Garth's studio, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. So after the last album where we went to the US and, you know, recorded in some amazing studios in Muscle Shoals and Memphis,
Muscle Shoals,
that
Royal Sun.
We went for the really exotic place of Botany, New South Wales.
The end of Botany.
But it was a great studio.
Industrial area.
We knew when we dropped in there that it was the right place for us, because it had a bit of the feel of those kind of older studios that we played recorded in the US. So it's yeah, it was great. It was comfortable, and it felt it wasn't too shiny. It was you know, it had some mojo, as they say.
Yeah, for those of watching who are used to familiar with studios, there's a lot of analog in that studio, isn't there?
That's right.
Yeah, a lot of the preamps and you know, that sort of stuff are old analog preamps, and that's really what gives a lot of the sort of warmth. We did actually record to Pro Tools, but they do have a 24-track tape machine. But yeah, we didn't go that retro.
Garth's been out there on the circuit for such a long time that whenever anything cool comes on the market, they know to speak to Garth first. So, you know, the Doors are from
the old 301.
The old 301.
Yeah, my studio.
Yeah. All sorts of cool stuff. And that all collects to have that feeling of a lot of the studios that we recorded. It feels a bit like Fame, you know, not so much Sun, maybe a bit like Royal, because there's sort of a whole bunch of stuff in there when you fosk around. But yeah, it does feel a bit like Fame Studios in Alabama.
Yeah. So this band has been going now for a number of albums, quite the catalogue. You can actually put them all together on a shelf and see that we do have a Soul Movers catalogue now. But with that also comes, I guess, the problem that you have is that you would probably have now songs on this album that may never see the light of day on a live stage.
Yeah, that is a problem. I mean, we have been playing most of it recently, but yeah, you tend to just play the last couple of albums. But you know, we play songs from all the albums as much as we can.
I think Bonafide was there's so many strong songs on that it's hard to let go of them in a live set too. So we've kind of usually when we do a live set, well, there's a first and second half. For example, when we played Gumball the other day, the first song, Low and Slow, is off On the Inside, which I did with Dennis. So that one was 2007. So we've got 3 ABC albums for this version with Murray on guitar, not Dennis Tech. But, you know, we'll probably never lose songs like Elvis Made Me and What Good Is Your Love, stuff like that, because they're very strident, but there's a lot of interaction. Shake It Loose. Murray was going through the paces on that one the other day, doing all the 60s dances, and he was like,
yeah, we get the audience
that's
to
a
do
workout.
It. Yeah, Lizzie put it second song in the set, so I felt like I needed to lie down after that one.
Yeah, I kind of ruined him on the second song. But it is it's good to have two halves, and you really feel like you've had a great show when you've gone through that trajectory of the albums, the stories, and also the roots of our music, because we are sort of originally rhythm and blues, retro rhythm and blues, rock, you know, original rock and roll is as much soul. So if we show that trajectory, and then we're going now up to sort of late 70s almost in the Garth stuff, you really do see like a real spectrum of the evolution of sound as well as the evolution of soul movers sound and music. So I think it works.
If we go back to the original albums, which was more of the authentic Memphis soul that you were doing back then, I guess to recreate that sound, you need a lot of brass. Have you found that, you know, as you've evolved into the Evolution album, there's less need to, you know, have a brass section within the band?
Yeah, we've kind of
moved away from that. I think we had saxophone, and we love that really guttural rock and roll saxophone, but we've never been a smooth horn soul band. Right from the get-go with Dennis and I's chats about horns. He doesn't like those kinds of horns, and neither do I. So like we had Dave Ray do horns on the inside, and they were wide open blasting saxophones. You know, a few little toots. There's a lot of one notes there, but we've never really been that big soul band kind of sound. So more rough, more Detroit Cobras. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
When we're talking about the songwriting there, as you mentioned earlier in the interview, Garth Porter is involved in quite a few of these songs. As we get deeper into the album, 2 tracks, I Don't Mind and Circles Baby. So we have Marco Simic on I Don't Mind, Andrew Newman on Circles Baby. Murray, you've dropped out of these 2 songs. Lizzie, you've co-written these with other people. Explain how that came about.
I'm just an opportunist, you know, like if someone makes a sound and I go, that's great, what did you just do? Do it again. And that happens to be Andy, or that happens to be Marco. I'm the one who drives the songs to completion. And if I'm not the one that has the idea in the first place, I'm a dog with a bone when it comes to a good idea on a song. So Circles Baby was something I forced Andy into doing, and I had to go to his house 3 times to harass him into giving me a bass line to work with. So I dragged it out of him. With I Don't Mind, with Marco, we did faster songs on the last album together. We did Good Time Girl and another one, but this one, 8 months and 4 different lyrics drafts, which I never do. But, you know, Marco, he's worth it. He's put up with me for a couple of years now. I'll do that with him, for him. But it was also an important song for him, I thought, to make, because he broke up with his girlfriend after 7 years, and I wanted him to have that little snow dome, but also to show that he'd survived, because that was a hard one for him. So, you know, songs function in a band and for people, and you know, that message out there in the world for people too, in different ways. And, you know, we're a family, so we stick together and we work hard to get, you know, get a song, get proof of survival, but also a song to share amongst each other. And, you know, me, I was a teacher for a while, so I just keep working until I get the assignment in.
I guess there you go. You've just described the fear of anybody going out with a songwriter musician. You break up and you get a song written about you.
That's right. The Taylor Swift album.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're the Taylor Swift of Australia.
Yeah. There's lots of different ways we write as well. Like Lizzie and I quite often, you know, sometimes I'll be noodling on the guitar and she'll say, "What's that?" And then a lot of the times she sings something into the phone, and then we get together and flesh it out. And this time we had Garth as well, which is great. And you know, there were some things that he ran with that turned out really well, like Evolution. He had a big part in the music
we
part of that.
We gave him the words before we really came up with them.
Yeah. But then some other things like Superman we had pretty much worked out, but then he changed it into something quite different, which was great as well. So, you know, it's I think it's really positive thing for songwriters and musicians to work with different people and
get these challenged.
Get these different influences in there
and learn from each other. Yeah.
Evolution clocks in at exactly 38 minutes, or 38 minutes and a few seconds over, which you know in the old language is absolutely perfect for vinyl, isn't it? You know, you've got your 18, 19, 20 minutes per side. Was that what it was designed for?
That's Garth.
Yeah, partly, and partly me too, because you know most of my life has been in the vinyl era. You know, it's only really CDs for the last well, 30 years, I guess half my life then. But you know, I think we still think in side one and side two a fair bit. And I'm one of my pet peeves in the CD era was that people could put like an hour and a half on a CD, so they would, or an hour, I guess. And I had lots of CDs that I loved, but every now and then I'd play the song at the end, and I'd say, "Oh, I never got that far because it's just too long."
Lots of filler.
I do really think 20 minutes aside is optimal, and you know, you get to know the songs really well. You know, the classic albums you love when you were young. When the one song finished, you already heard the next song in your head before it started, and I like that you can get really familiar with the record. So there is a little method in our madness.
Yeah, we went very traditional time around.
Well, I guess once upon a time when you were making for vinyl, there were very few double albums back in the day. You know, Beatles' White Album, Exile on Main Street, Hendrix, Electric Ladyland. Suddenly CD comes along, you've got 78 minutes to fill, and everybody did.
Yeah. And sometimes, you know, a double album's worth of stuff isn't really that great. You know, there's often stuff that you could leave off.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Great to see you again, Paul.
Lovely to talk as always, Paul.